r/AskReddit by Redmond Dts. What was your I'm not paid enough for this moment? Telling a grown man that he shouldn't be pooping in a customer's parking lot. When a customer had a full-blown adult tantrum on the floor of the supermarket I was working at because we were out of red cabbage 2 hours before we closed on Christmas Eve. Mind you that almost everyone eats red cabbage on Christmas here in Germany. To top this off, she also threw frozen bread rolls after me because I told her to have her tantrum outside. I have ruined multiple Christmases. My offenses were as follows. Not having 15,000 Christmas lights in stock 2 days before Christmas. Not having an ornament of 2 elves climbing a ladder to put a star on top of a Christmas tree, and one of the elves was blonde and the other had brown hair. Not having the 72 count K-cup package that she had received an email about. We absolutely had them in stock. She was just an idiot and a butthole. I was going to help her find what she needed even though I was off the clock. But she started off with UFing people never have anything in stock when you say you do, but since I got this email I thought I'd try. And when I tried to explain that individual stores don't send the emails and they're sent by corporate and that individual stock might vary at each store, she cut me off and said that that wasn't an excuse, because the email didn't have a disclaimer that said that stock varied at each store, so we should have everything when the emails were sent out. So I just told her in the sugariest voice I could that I was so very sorry. She called me a butthole and stomped out. While working with a client as a consultant employed by a consulting agency, the client tried to hire me full-time and offered me triple the salary. That was like the what the F moment, which made me research the market value of my skills and turned out I was super underpaid. So I left and found a new job straight away. So I'm working this register at a truck stop circa 2011. It's by a door that gets very little traffic, so I mostly just watch the gift shop area and try to deter people from stealing. It's an overnight shift about 3 AM. This man comes barreling in bleeding from his hand and yells I've been stabbed. Immediately I call for security. My manager is nearby. Security calls 911 on their way and shows up a few moments later. This guy's bleeding profusely, all over my freshly mopped floor mind you. I'm off to the side. Sir, where is the stabber? My manager is asking for towels, so I bring a clean towel. Again I ask, sir, where is the stabber? My manager and security are saying stuff like put pressure on it. Go wave down the ambulance when they arrive. So at this point I'm practically yelling there is a stabber on the loose in that parking lot somewhere and I'm not going out there until I know where he is. Finally the guy goes, oh, he was at the truck stop across the street. We got into an argument. It wasn't random. Relived, and now no longer fearing for my safety I went out to wave down the ambulance. Unfortunately $8 an hour is not enough to get stabbed over. I worked at a Starbucks in a grocery store and a customer got mad because she wanted a drink cold but it was served hot. The girl taking her order was new and didn't ask her if she wanted hot or cold. I was making the drinks so went with what was on the cup. So she threw it at me while still freshly hot. Burned my face down to my stomach. I was 5 months pregnant. I quit a week later. When the boss said he was going to hire Mary back. Mary, the woman who was fired for having her friends call me with death threats because I wouldn't switch days off with her. Mary, the woman he told me he was never in a room alone with because she was the type to claim sexual harassment. He hired Mary back and gave her my job after I quit. He was fired 6 months later over the sexual harassment claim filed by Mary. What an idiot boss. Loses you his own job and rewards Mary for being a garbage bag human being. Well done, idiot. Karma is a bitch, I guess. Mary 2. Plumber. I was called to a newish mobile home that had a bad smell in the yard. I pulled off a couple of pieces of underpinning and saw that soon after it was set up, 6 to 8 months ago, the no-hub band had come loose under the children's bathroom. 3 kids. All the crap from the toilet was pooling under there. I told them to call the people that set up the mobile home and I left. When my boss laughed and bragged to my face about how much he was saving by having me do professional design work, in addition to my other duties, instead of a designer he'd have to pay 5 to 6 times more. That didn't last long. Good on you for leaving that job. Really gotta be a special type of person to not think this over and decide bragging to your employees that they should be paid more is kind of a bad idea unless you intend to actually pay them more. Realizing the police reports I'm translating are not to help the victim escape her abusive husband, they are to help the abusive husband gain a refugee visa to Canada. I quit translating as a freelancer soon after. Was working in a large bakery for my first job at 15. Tried to pull a 6-foot tall baking tray but there's a lip to get the tray over. Started to fall on me and caught it with my forearms, burning myself. Not terribly, but still not great feeling. Told my boss and showed him my swelling, reddened forearms and asked to go home. He said I could, once I'd mopped out the bottom of all the 10 plus freezers, and then he left, leaving me alone. I left as soon as he did and then rode my bike home to take care of my burns. I worked at an Italian restaurant for years. So many nightmare scenarios, but the final straw was when I worked a double shift one Tuesday. While I served the lunch crowd, there were 2 teenage girls that had come in and ordered a cold antipasto salad with cold cut meat, and some pizza. I watched them pick at the salad but primarily eat the pizza. Hours later, in the evening, their mother came stomping down the long aisle, past the pizza counter leading to the phone kitchen area where I was stationed. She threw the tin down and started yelling that we skimped on the cold cuts and that the salad was so much money, etc., making a scene. I was trying to explain to her that I was watching the girls eat the salad. Apparently the salad was for her. But my boss, the owner, heard what was going on and came over. He was trying to butter her up and tell her don't worry about it, we'll replace the whole thing. So I pulled him to the side and I started trying to tell him what happened. That the girls were eating the salad. Instead of listening, he went into the kitchen, yelled at the salad guys and had them make her a new one. When she left, I told him what happened and he was like, "Oh my god. Why didn't you tell me?" I let her walk away with a $20 salad. What the F are you, stupid? So I walked away. I had been there for 12 hours at that point and just had enough. He followed me into the kitchen prep area and ended up calling me a C. All the kitchen guys had a look of WTF on their faces. I was working there with him for 4 years and had enough of his steroid mood swings. I quit the next week. When a car intentionally tried to hit me while I was directing traffic for the city of Chicago. There isn't enough money in the world worth losing my life over. I was the 24/7 on call for failing jobs in our IT department. After 3 days of no sleep and stress, I had a cardiac event. Quit the next day. I used to work at a well-known wings and fries chain restaurant as a crew manager. One down of store GM. One afternoon I was talking to some of the literal high schoolers I managed and they let me know they were making only 50 cents less than I was. These are brand new hires with no experience at all. I was a manager with years of managerial experience and had been working there for a year. The next day I talked to the GM and RM and demanded a raise. Told them I thought it was insulting I made not even $1 more an hour than a new hire as someone who has double or triple the responsibilities and experience that these kids had. They told me that's just how it is. The following week employees were telling me that the GM of the store was talking baloney and was thinking of firing me because I lied to her about having double the responsibilities of just a normal employee. Even though I pointed out exactly which responsibilities I do on top of just running the store, and the math literally shows over double the responsibilities regular employees were expected to do. I turned in my resignation that night over email and asked for my final 2 weeks to have massively decreased hours. I worked at a Shopko, imagine Kmart, but less fancy, stocking shelves. I walked out to the snack aisle to stock the candies and came face to face with what was either a very large baby or a naked 6-year-old who was just covered in chocolate that he was grabbing by the fistful from the shelves and cramming into his mouth. I wandered into the back room and called out the codes for loss prevention and cleanup on the aisle and went outside for an unscheduled smoke break. Once I came back inside, my boss kinda snapped at me for not taking care of the situation myself, to which I informed him that $7.75 an hour did not buy enough give a crap to deal with sticky naked children. Or the liability in that. It's hard to get less fancy than Kmart. I practically saved a 100,000 euros deal at a company, and I got awarded a pay cut. What a time to be alive. Got Employee of the Year and was downsized the following year. At least I got a good severance package. When the semi-truck I drove started falling apart while driving it. Came to a stop and the hood flipped open and almost hit the car in front of me. The same day the right mirror was broken off by the highway winds and the truck's airbags didn't inflate, so suspension was crazy. Drove it back mid-job and quit that day. I would have died if I stayed with that company. I worked at a high-end car dealership in the service department where the customers could be pretty demanding. One lady came in complaining that her car was making a noise. I asked what kind of noise and where it was coming from, since the car wasn't currently making any unusual noises. She snapped that I should be able to figure it out. I told her very politely that since the car was not making the noise at the time and no codes had come up on the computer when we plugged it in, that knowing what kind of noise and generally where it seemed to be coming from would help the technicians figure out what was going on. She screamed, "Just do your effing job and figure it out," and threw her keys at my face. I caught them, threw them on the ground, and walked to my manager's office to tell him what happened and to request that he deal with her, because I was not going to. He told me that difficult customers come with the job. I'd been yelled at, talked down to, hit on, basically disrespected in so many ways at that job, but having someone chuck keys at my face and being told to accept it was the last straw. My car is making a noise. What noise is it? Oh, it's only when I press the gas pedal. It's like a weird vroom noise. It's called the engine, you stupid bee. Just fix it. Then you give the car back without the engine or with the exhausts plugged. Two specific cases. One was when I was working retail. I was sick as a dog, throwing up, completely lost my voice. Got a call from the manager that even though I had called out sick I needed to come in that day because the district manager was there. Was told in no uncertain terms that if I didn't show up I could expect to lose my job. So I got dressed, came in, and within the hour proceeded to get absolutely reamed out by the aforementioned DM for making a mistake on a receipt. I saw red, resigned on the spot and never looked back. Second case was when I was working in construction a decade later. I was told to visit a vacant apartment in the Bronx to take measurements and provide an estimate for carpet removal. Nothing out of the ordinary, visited a ton of apartments before. It wasn't until the super let me in and immediately left that I realized something was off. I walked into the bedroom to find a blood-stained mattress and splatter all over the wall. Apparently this apartment had been the site of a murder-suicide a few days earlier. I did the job, drove back to the office, and proceeded to tell my boss that if they ever send me into a job like that blind without informing me that I would be walking into the middle of a crime scene, they would have to find a new estimator. Thankfully they did not. I literally just don't make enough money. I've been with my company for 3 years and make as much as the people who just came into the department I used to work for. I can do 3 different jobs here and make starting pay. That's all folks. Thanks for watching. Have a nice evening. Kitos.